You are listening to the So Now What podcast with Lana Manikowski, episode number 57. So now what? These three words raced through my mind time and time again during my journey through fertility treatments. I tried desperately to have a child, but never was able. I yearned for a community to join that could understand my struggles. I couldn't find one, so I created one with the So Now What podcast. I love that you found us. What is up, beautiful people? Hope you're having a great week. I am doing awesome. We launched Thrive After Infertility last week. We had our first class on Wednesday, and can I just tell you, it was magic. It was magic for me. I know it was magic for the women that chose to go on this 3-month journey with me. And I'm just so proud of the women that have chosen to make change in their life, because I know what it feels like to feel stuck and feel like there's just nothing worth trying, because women like us and women who tried to become moms and couldn't become moms don't have an option to live a life that feels good again. We just have this belief that this is just the sentence that we've received, and we're just going to try to white knuckle our way through life, but not these ladies. These are some amazing women, and we're doing great stuff together already in week 1. We've been keeping in touch. We have our own little text group, and we keep in touch and check in with each other. And I am just beyond ecstatic that the tools that I can teach have such an opportunity to change lives. So if you thought about Thrive and chose not to join us this time, I have a feeling we're going to do it again. So keep on the lookout for more announcements about that. But what I want to talk about this week is challenge. And before I got my infertility diagnosis, before I found out that I was diagnosed with unexplained infertility, I was the challenge queen. There was very little that I feared. There was very little that had me ruffled. There was very little I believed I was not capable of. And once I got my diagnosis of unexplained infertility, my whole vision about challenge changed. I started to think that challenge was not fair. I started to believe that I was not up for a challenge, that I couldn't be successful because I did not have the optimal result that I sought in this challenge of infertility. So let's talk a little bit about why challenge is scary to us. Challenges are scary to us because we are humans. Okay, that's like as simple as it can get. So you've heard me talk before about how we have this primal brain, and we oftentimes are so used to believing a certain way, thinking a certain way, feeling a certain way when things come upon us, because our brain is just wired for repetition. So it hears the story plays in our mind. We see challenges, we see obstacles, we see things we possibly might not be good at, things that we might need to work a little bit harder to achieve, and our brain automatically goes in freak out mode because it's like, oh shit, I'm going to have to work really hard to figure this one out. So I'm going to trick this person into believing that we should just stick with our routine, stick with what we do, stick with what has kept us safe all these years. So when we use our prefrontal cortex, which is the more developed part of our brain, the brain that has the capability to put us in a place where we can navigate things that we might not have a routine down for yet. We can do more critical thinking. We can believe from a place we've never existed before. So we can see ourselves in this place that we feel abundant and we feel full and we feel proud, meaningful, purposeful, even though our challenge of infertility did not end up with us having a human child. So challenges simply are an opportunity for you to get comfortable with having your own back and training your brain to think new things and believe new things. Because, like, let's be honest, like, of course it sounds fun to never have a challenge in your life. But when is the last time you were presented with something that you weren't sure the outcome of, or you weren't sure how to figure it out? You had to be resourceful. Like, you guys heard me talk about that day I went to go turn my car on and it was dead as a doornail. All of a sudden I had to figure out how the hell I was going to get my car out of the garage, get to the dealership, get my battery changed, like all that stuff. Like, those little challenges, if we sit there and we are just idle and telling ourselves, like, this is too much, I can't figure it out, we think we're just going to ride this wave of not being resourceful, and we just become this helpless person. And if you can start to show yourself that there is such opportunity for you to face challenges in a way that you can be the victor in your story, you can be somebody that you're proud of, you can be somebody who evolves even though you've had the hugest challenge. So think of somebody that you've met. I know we all have these people that you meet someone and you hear their story, or they may have something physically that has happened to them as a result of an accident, a health condition, a disease, and you think, oh my gosh, like, how could they have gone through that and still be so positive? I mean, there's so many people I can think of that I've met, and I'm like, how do they wake up every day with a smile on their face, or this willingness to believe that they can make it another day despite all that they've been through? And I want to offer you that you have that same opportunity. The only difference between them and you is that they've decided not to be stagnated by their challenge. And that doesn't mean that they're any more gifted. They don't have any more faith in God. They don't have any more brilliance that you weren't born with. They have just decided that even though they may have had a shit sandwich at some point in their life, that shit sandwich does not have to turn into the feast that is in front of them. So when you think about challenges, think about the fact that they are going to be there whether you want them or not, and that the more you're scared and the more you tell yourself that you won't be good at something, or that it's not fair that this challenge has come upon you, you are going to sit there idle and not looking for ways that you can be resourceful, not looking for ways that you can feel pride for yourself, or feel meaningful, or feel like your life is full, because you're constantly beholden to that story that challenges are just too much for you. And I know we feel, it's often times, I know I felt this at some point, where I was kind of like, okay, my challenge bucket is full. What else could I possibly be challenged with if my ultimate fear of not becoming a mom became my reality? Like, life isn't fair if I have any more challenges beyond that. And the challenges kept coming, and I decided that I could have them keep coming and navigate them in a way that I was the most badass woman in my life. So I want you to think about what challenges might be coming up for you. Decide that you might feel uncomfortable. You might not know the right answer. You might have to ask for help. You might feel weak. You might feel helpless sometimes, but that is part of our human experience. And the more that you just let yourself open up to that opportunity, and I call it an opportunity. I don't want to think of challenges as setbacks. I think of them as opportunity, because every single challenge that I have had in my life, including my inability to have a child, has created the most magnificence in my life right now. And there is so many years that I dreaded becoming the person that ended up going through 7 years of IVF and didn't have a child. I dreaded that. I lived my own biggest fear of who I could have possibly ended up as when I started my infertility journey. And I am here, and let me tell you, I have never felt frickin' better. With all the challenges that I've endured and the emotional roller coasters and the thousands of dollars and the start and stop of cycles and the canceled cycles, the heartache, I mean, all of that stuff that you are feeling, I have felt it too. And I am such a greater person because of that. And I know that might sound cliche to you, but it's because you haven't allowed yourself to lean into your challenges. And I want to tell you that if you just allow yourself to not live in fear and tell yourself that if you just hold out and you just give it time, you'll get to the other side of it, you're really doing yourself a disservice because you are not allowing yourself to evolve to the most amazing version that you can be. That's my soapbox for this week. I love me a good challenge. I want you to know that you can love a good challenge too and not be fearful of it. I am going to be opening a couple more spots in my one-on-one coaching. I have not done this in a while because I have had some folks that have graduated from one-on-one into group coaching. And if you're thinking about all the things that I talk about every week and saying that you're not sure it's possible for you, I invite you to join me on my one-on-one coaching. It's a 3-month, it's the most amazing transformative time you can have. Hit me up. Let's chat. Let's see if we're a good fit for each other. And let's do some magic together. Let's challenge some shit. All right. Have a great week. Remember that I love you and it's never too late to discover your meaning. I'll talk to you next week.